at the heart of success. So she leads talent management initiatives across Eastern and Southern Africa. So you can see both women have varied experiences, not just locally. And we have Northern Africa, we have East Africa, we have South Africa, all going to be brought in from their varied experiences, from also what they have learned from others. But beyond the workplace, Irene is a lifelong learner and an avid reader who finds joy in fellowship, in gardening, and in crocheting, and in dog breeding. She breeds dogs. So for those of you who are looking for the dog, you might want to side chat her later on about the dogs that you might want to. I don't know. Well, I'm growing there to be a dog lover, not yet there, but perhaps one day I will. I'll have a coffee with you, Irene. So thank you very much, ladies. Merci beaucoup, Nedra, for coming and being part of this conversation today. In fact, on the call, we have Madame Priska Olwoj, who at some point was acting as my interpreter. Or has she gone? She's still here. My interpreter when I was going through the certification for our friends in Tunisia, Nedra. So maybe when it gets to some point, I'm going to ask her to step in. But I mean, I've worked with Nedra for a very long time. She's, I mean, bilingual by nature. I'm very jealous. All right.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour. Ah, Priska, ça va?
Ça va très bien. Bienvenue.
Merci.
Merci,
Bonsoir.
merci. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, bonsoir, Nedra.
Bonsoir, bonsoir. Excellent. The next time it will be a French webinar, Vicky. It's your challenge.
Yes, for sure. For sure. We're going to do one. And Priska will come in and translate to the English-speaking nation. And I will speak in my broken French. So thank you. Thank you very much. But before we start and I talk to these wonderful ladies, I have some questions for you, the audience, today to make you think about your own practice and what you're currently doing or what you're currently offering. And my first question to you as we start this conversation is, what business problem does your coaching actually solve? And you can put for me in the chat, what business problem does your coaching actually solve? So think about it. You can give us one or two answers on the platform. And I don't want to ask a second question. I want to see what I get as answers. In fact, if you want, you can unmute yourself because we're not very many. You can raise up your hand and I will call your name and you can unmute yourself and tell us, what business problem does your coaching actually solve? Right? Really, really great question there, courtesy of our presenters today. Okay. I'm waiting to see if there's anything. Not to worry, we have removed all recording devices, all reading notes, AIs, which come in before the actual people come in. That's what I've noticed. So now we are removing all of them to make sure they're not in the meeting with us. Can I get someone, one person? And as that person answers, possibly the second question is, if a CEO asked you, what's the return on investment in what you're doing, whether it's coaching, whether it's EI facilitation, how confidently would you answer them? And let's even replace CEO with business owner, any business owner or any business executive who starts with stewarding either a department, an organization. These two questions, what would you tell them? What would you tell them, right? So those are our questions to start off our discussion today. And I think I'm hoping that I will see some chats coming through around what business problem do you actually solve, or a hand coming through. And the second one, of course, is if a CEO asked you what's the return on investment. And I'm using CEO here loosely. It could be a head of department. It could be a business owner, SME or MSME, whichever that is. What would you tell them? So, without further ado, I see we have a chat. We have someone, the transformer, all the way from Nigeria, saying that what business problem do they solve? Clarity and change intelligence. And then I have Catherine Jogono who says strengthening people's leaders, people management skill. Great. Now I will the judges of the answers are going to be Nedra and Irene to tell us whether those answers are sufficient enough to turn the heads of any business owner, business executive. And the third one is performance gaps between the actual and desired performance. So these are the answers we're getting to you, two of you. So think through and let us know, what do you think about what the audience has answered. And so as we start, I'm going to start asking my questions to both of you, and perhaps I could start with Nedra, although this question is to both of you. And the question is, why would an organization choose to invest in emotional intelligence when there are so many competing priorities? Nedra, why?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I will give my own point of view, as I'm also a certified practitioner in Janus emotional intelligence. I'm yes, pushing my clients to be certified and to introduce the emotional intelligence in their organizations. Why? Because today we operate really in an environment where every investment is expected to deliver measurable business value. So we have to convince, our clients that these competency will bring to them business value, an added business value.
Yes.
And of course, it is now more than important in the era of change that we are living in the planet. So I talked about, for example, the climate that we are having here in Tunisia, in Quebec. I'm really now living in -40, and now it's +50. So the difference is huge. And
Yes, that's a big
yeah, this
difference.
is huge. And really here, even if it is a concrete, corporate emotion, but it's very important to prepare people to be intelligent emotionally. So organizations that invest in emotional intelligence are investing in better decision making, stronger leadership, high employee engagement. And we know, all of us here around this webinar, that the engagement of people now in all over the world in the organization is becoming less and less. We are talking about 25% of engagement, of employees in their companies. So we have really to work on this. And of course, we will have a better collaboration and a greater resilience in times of change. These factors directly influence productivity, of course, innovation, customer experience. We say, as an HR also experts, we always say that if your internal client, that means your employee, is satisfied, your external customer will be satisfied.
Yes.
So we are trying really to work as a human resource experts on the satisfaction of our internal client, and one of the keys for this is the emotional intelligence.
Okay.
And thank you. Okay,
Please go ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
you can
and
continue.
ultimately, what I want to say, and even if financial results, companies are investing in technologies and processes, in infrastructures, the return on investment will be always dependent on people's ability to work together effectively. So it's a very important investment.
Okay. So people's ability to work effectively together is actually what allows companies to be able to deliver on whatever it is that they're doing. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Nedra. Irene, what would you add to the conversation?
Thank you very much, Vicky and Nedra. And I think Nedra started it off very well. I would only add, yes, in this environment of the pace of change that she has spoken about, and working in a diverse environment, then it becomes a business priority for leaders to position themselves to be able to better manage the issues that are on the table today that are different from probably maybe what we experienced before. Because I think today we are no longer talking about being in a VUCA world. We've now migrated to Barney, and they're just getting to see and connect the dots now between strategy, processes, and then people. And when we speak about people, they come in just understanding the person as a whole. They are coming in with their emotions. They are coming in with psychosocial risks that impact and affects our performance, the trust in the organization. So yes, we could put a strong case for EI to be part of these business priorities that are on the table today.
Mm-hmm. And then to add to that, what kind of data would you have? And this is to both of you again, just to support this. Like, what would you quote to help the facilitation of these conversations in organization become a priority as well? Say, for example, you're going to an organization. I mean, most of the time when I've pitched, guys are saying, oh, our sales, we're focusing on our sales numbers. We are more focused on upskilling our salespeople and possibly our customer service people. And then the rest of the money is obviously spent on training technically. So how would you make this a priority? How do you utilize that? What data do you use? Yes.
Yes, well, for me, it's very important to see some key performance indicators based on human resource, I mean the database. For example, the turnover. So we can analyze these, I mean, why people leave the company. It's very important. Also, of course, the health, the mental health, and the number of depressions, burnouts, etc. in the companies. And we know that the number is really coming very, very high. And this is, I mean, I confirm that this is a fact, for example, here in Tunisia. I'm sure that in Kenya, but also in Canada. I can say that in Quebec, 1 employee out of 4 is under depression. So it is, something that is very important all over the world. So these are some key performance indicators that I focus on when I go to organizations to convince them of the importance of having these competencies in within their people.
Thank you. Irene, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think yes, Nadra has put it also very well. Just in addition to what she has said is that I think most of the former organizations today have, say, for example, annual surveys where we are doing, and in this surveys, we have a number of parameters that we are checking. For example, in some of the organizations I've worked for, we have also now an engagement index that we're able to measure progressively and getting to see how we are faring. And that is also further broken down to really understand what does engagement mean to you. And the leaders in that organization have been given an opportunity to also contribute to what the measurable areas, and those that are the ones that can also be measured on our balance scorecard. In addition, we also have a care index, which is coming also to be at the core of the business because of the psychosocial risks that Nedra has mentioned that are affecting today's workforce more than ever before. So I think a starting point of this conversation, yes, will have to be around that. And many of us can also attest, sometimes just a chat with a CEO or business owners, they actually share their frustrations. And I will use that feedback of the informal chats that I have with these leaders to build a business case for EI. Because more often than not, they are talking about strategy, processes, but when it comes into the people, there's always an issue of either misalignment, trust dividend, and just feeling like, no, we are not yet there, that there's a deficit in here that needs to be focused on.
Yeah.
And Vicky, if you recall, there's one time you shared with us part of, like, I think it was a research that had established that 63% of productivity is like a direct relationship of the level of EI in that organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may not have been Africa-based, but I think it's a starting point of the conversation. So whenever you find you can get relevant research that you can share with us, it does help to as we engage with the business leaders across.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. And in fact, incidentally, when you speak about engagement and care indexes, I know that we might not always find organizations that have all these things put down as things that they measure. But one of the things that maybe I can share from my experience that I have found is when you are asked by the business leadership, how will we know whether this is working? One of the things you can ask back, and I'm just piggybacking on what Nedra and Irene have said, is do you have an engagement index? Because we do have statistics around what engagement does for an organization, and engagement is directly linked, I believe, to how people are managed. I think almost as much as 70% of engagement is attributed to how people are managed. And then our engagement goes on to give its own metrics about how things are being happy. So happy to hear about the indexes and the measurements and the surveys, because it's something, as you're doing the work, you can introduce and say, are you really taking your engagement seriously as a point of information? Great. So I think we've answered that question of how do you clearly demonstrate and the impact on engagement. I think we've talked about customer experience. I think, Nedra, you've talked about, though you're supposed to talk about this now, leadership effectiveness. Do you want to expound on something, maybe on leadership effectiveness, what we can sell, productivity, what we can sell? But I know you've talked about turnover, which is retention, and it's a good story when people are exiting to find out why they left. I'm just wondering, is there anything to add there? We move to the next question.
So yes, I can start. So of course, what emotional intelligence, why it impacts business, I mean performance, because it improves the way the people, I mean, they communicate, they collaborate together. We prepare, I mean, leaders for change management by resilience. We elevate the competency of people to care about others, which is very important in a world of business where what we talk are financial aspects. So it is very important to enhance these competencies. And of course, when it increases I mean, the people knowledge, I mean, the collaboration and the leadership between the leadership in the companies, it increases productivity because we will reduce misunderstanding. Many, for example, I can give the most, I mean, case or case study that we focus on is between, for example, the commercial, I mean, people and the production. So there are always misunderstanding between these two departments because they have different objectives. They have different, I mean, types of pressure and different, I mean, visions of the business. So
Yes.
yeah, so I mean, if these people are well trained on emotional intelligence, they will be communicating truly together. I mean, they will understand the point of view of each other. And this will lead to better productivity and business effectiveness. Of course, for leadership effectiveness, this is the most important thing, I think, that we can have the result of the intelligence, the emotional intelligence. As the technical skills are very important, of course. They make the true managers, the managers that will lead to have the final products, the final services, but they don't make, I mean, true leaders that will inspire the others. And we need really today this type of leaders that will inspire, that will develop people, that will also lead through the change. These leaders who are able, what we call the agent of change, who are able to make changes in the company. So yes, it has, I mean, direct impact on productivity and on leadership effectiveness. And this is, I mean, true case studies that I have seen during my experience.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And I like that part about people can be technically adept, but they might fail to inspire others into action. Thank you. And Irene, I want to ask you, what evidence do you have that coaching creates sustainable behavioral change?
I think, Vicky, this is a tricky area. It may not be scientifically driven, but I think when you talk about the impact of coaching, its connection with behavior change and feeding into the organizational culture and the employee empowerment, then I think for me, that is the evidence that would be there, and obviously connecting it to organizational performance, employee retention, and productivity. So I think for me, indirectly does feed into the culture and how the quality and level of leadership within the organization.
All right. Okay. And I think what they say, you know, when you're learning, when you're doing a learning program, and the reasons why we put the coaching component is because we are able to steward or be accountability or something for the persons who have been facilitated through that conversation. So able to sustain that support for a bit longer. So my next question to both of you actually is, if your clients stopped how much revenue are we leaving on the table because we are selling hours instead of business impact? How much revenue are we leaving on the table because we are selling hours instead of business impact? And maybe you could start by saying, how are we selling hours instead of business impact? Who wants to go first?
Irene, if you want.
Yes,
Yeah, please.
Irene?
You asked me that because, I'm not able to quantify, but I can tell you we are barely scratching the surface. I think that's what I would say is most of the practitioners, and maybe in a year's time, I'll be able to answer fully, quantifiable, like how much revenue are we leaving behind. But just right now, to say yes, I do not think we are really selling EI. And the starting point is that what are we then selling?
What are we selling?
What are we selling? Are we able to demonstrate value addition and connect the dots between their pain areas and EI to build an irresistible offer? How many of us, for example, have a defined strategy on go-to-markets? I am not one of them.
I like that honesty. Nedra, what would you like to say?
Yes, I say that selling hours is difficult. Selling coaching hours is difficult. What I've been doing is rather selling, a whole mission where I'm here to fully support the organization. So I introduce the coaching and the EI as concepts, as tools, as solutions, but it's in the second or the third step. Not I'm trying not to sell directly,
Okay. Yes.
But it's for me, once my client, my organization is here, they started having this partnership relation with me. We are starting doing concrete, and they are seeing concrete results. Then I introduce the emotional intelligence. So that's what I'm doing until now. Yes.
Good.
And it works. Yes.
So selling an initiative that's targeting a certain predictable impact,
Yes.
which what is required as a doctor is like Panadol or some other paracetamol. And that Panadol and paracetamol is coaching and emotional intelligence. So I guess what you're saying here is, as coaches, we need to stop saying, I am a coach and I can come and coach your organization. It's more like, what problems are you facing? Or being able to describe the problem to someone until they're like, yes, 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 yes. I actually have that problem, and then holistically being able to package something for them. Great. So great, good conversations we're having here. My second last question, and in fact, I just want to open up the floor to members who are here with us today. If there is any comments that you want to make, for example, I've just asked a question, the last question I asked, which was about selling hours and how much money are we leaving on the table, because we're selling hours and we are not selling business impact. So in fact, it was just the next question we were going to ask halfway, and I think now we're halfway. We were going to ask you another set of questions, and they were: one, are you selling business coaching sessions, or are you delivering a measurable business outcome? And if you are on this call and you are delivering a measurable business outcome, we would like to hear from you. This is a forum where we're here to learn from each other. And if something is working for you, we would really like to hear from you. So even if you have a question. And then the next question is, what would change in your business if every coaching conversation was linked to a measurable organizational outcome? So 2 questions. Rose is going to put them on the chat as we go along. But I'd like to hear from you, from the participants here who are also selling measurable business outcomes. How has that been like for you? And what's your experience? Feel free to put up your hand as I also proceed with my next question. I'm really looking forward to hearing from anyone. Madame Priska, I have many people here who I know have done a few things. So if you don't come forth, I will call your name. Yes. So who wants to share something? Mm-hmm.
You can call Vicky.
Yeah, I think I want to call. I know Judy is selling something. Let me see. I think someone has unmuted. Is there anyone? I know I've had several coaches on the call who are doing something a bit different. I know Carol Kaberia is doing something. Yes, Kuresha, please go ahead. You can unmute yourself. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Vicky, for organizing this. You've asked who is doing something different
Mm-hmm.
with the Gino's coaching, and I wanted to come forward that
Yes.
mine is just to strengthen the business I am in right now, which
Mm-hmm.
is basically not for profit, but focused first on my staff in
Yes.
terms of strengthening their self-awareness as a team, and also how we can communicate and collaborate better. And I must tell you, this has really helped us improve on our trust, accountability, and even performance. I think since 3 of my team members, including me, did the Gino's coaching, and the result is out there for itself on how we've used that knowledge to transform the institution which we are in, and that is the Institute of Human Resource Management. And I'm sure and I have to be say now, beyond the inward looking, we also use the skills using, in fact, members from this team to impact the larger HR professionals. And Vicky, we've had one like that just last week. And, I may not have done it, but through our initiatives, and because we've seen what it's doing for our institution, we've extended that to the other organizations. And the feedback has always been the same, that when you do emotional intelligence at leadership level, then it just becomes the game changer, that even if you've not done the coaching bit, it increases your capability and you're able to measure your team's impact and your contribution to your team. So I
Yes.
thought it's important that I share that feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kuresha. An example of an organization that has seen how actually performance-wise, and in fact, it was just today we had a session that IHRM was running on Transcend, and a lot of the comments there were about how IHRM has really transformed. And I think that's a testament to great leadership as well, Madam Kuresha. Well done. Very well done. Okay, thank you so much. Now, I want to ask one last question before I come back to Kuresha. Did you want to say something else? I saw your hand up.
No, sorry.
Okay, good. So, and another question. How do you make, or what words have you used, actually specifically, what words have you used when you're talking about coaching, when you're talking about EI, actual words that people can take away today that have changed your offer from nice to have to must have? I know that's difficult. And this also goes out to the practitioners on the call today. What words can we use that change our conversation from nice to have? I remember when Derek Banga used to talk in these forums, used to say, this is not a nice to have skill. But what words can you use, or what examples can you use that change it from a nice to have to a must have? Yes, Carol Kaberia, over to you. We can start with the audience and then we come to the speakers.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. So thanks, Vicky. I think for me, I would say what has changed that conversation from nice to have to must have has always been when we present to the teams that you're going to that the emotional climate of any team directly affects the way they will perform. Then for the leader, it raises their antennas because we usually just start off with the emotional culture index. And then now, as you're trying to, correlate the productivity to the way people are feeling, then, this becomes something that they're like, oh, everybody needs to do this program. And we need to start being coached on, the areas that we need to work on. And then the conversation now becomes a bit more serious.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for that. ACI, the emotional climate. Yes, Priska, over to you.
Thank you very much, Vicky, and good evening. I think for me, the two questions we go through in the emotional intelligence training has always brought quite some wake-up moments. That is, think about your best boss, think about your worst boss. That exercise somehow is like ever fresh, ever new, especially when people are encountering the training or trying to unpack emotional intelligence and even going through either a sensitization or a program. So how I show up as a good boss or as a bad boss, I feel usually brings quite some magic in terms of attention and in terms of now practicality of what it actually means of how I made people feel. Thank you.
How I make people feel. Yes, the exercise of good boss, bad boss. Thank you for reminding us that, Priska. That exercise brings it home. Even in any conversation, even if you just met someone on a side chat and they're asking you this EI thing, it really demystifies it. So back to our speakers. And for anyone else who'd like to say something, Judy. Okay, speakers, wait. Let's hear from Judy. Judy, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Vicky, and thank you for organizing this. It's a very interesting conversation. Now, for me, obviously, fairly new, obviously, to coaching, but drawing on my experiences and all that. And one of the words that I'm using a lot with my audiences and obviously the different kinds of people, because I have three disciplines in my business, which is psychology, mediation, and of course, emotional intelligence, is anchored. That's a very big word for me. When people show up when they're anchored, and by working on yourself when you're anchored, then it's even working within teams. and improving the way you communicate. And and you remember what I told you,
Yes.
it's just not about anchoring you in the office. It's about being an anchored person in your personal relationship, your personal space, your
Yes.
family. Because the way you show up, like I keep saying, the way you show up at home is the way you show up in business, the way I'll interact with you. So when I use the word anchored, I've noticed that is really capturing people, and they want to find out more about it, and just to how do you center yourself and get anchored to a point where your interactions with people, your performance, the kind of person you become,
Yes.
you have a positive impact, across the board,
Yes.
across anybody you're interacting with. Yeah. So
Yes.
thank you.
Great. Anchored. Yeah. Anchored people produce anchored results. They react different in terms of different circumstances. I like that word. I think I'm going to have a LinkedIn post to write very soon, possibly next week. Beautiful word. Thank you all for sharing the words you use that you move the conversation from nice to have to must have. And if you have any more ideas, please let us know. But now I want to go back to our speakers. What are the words for you that you use? And you can even say them in French, Nedra, and then translate. That you move the conversation from nice to have to must have.
I will take the challenge to speak all the webinar in English so that you will make it in French next time.
Okay.
So I think when it is a personal coaching, I mean an employee who is really working and has his job description and job, I always put on the table the artificial intelligence. And for me, I say, what is your guarantee that your job will exist? What's make you different in 5 years or in 3 years? What are the new competencies that you have that artificial intelligence cannot have until now? We don't know, I mean, in the future. So
Yeah.
this makes people really want to have something else. What's my added value as a human being in the company? When I'm talking about the leadership team, I talk about business. So I really try to understand the business challenges and the leadership, I mean, challenges, their most important, challenges, things that they are facing to achieve their vision. And I put on the table the emotional intelligence. And why? Because I say that you will be achieving your vision with your people. It's not
Okay.
really,
It's not you.
it's not you.
Yes. Ah, wonderful.
That's the thing that I use when I'm talking about with the leadership team.
Yes, you will be achieving your vision through your people. It is not you.
Yes, with
That's,
the
yeah,
people.
that is
Yes.
actually very, very powerful. Thank you, Nedra. Irene, for you, what is that thing, that anchor, that word?
One is the cost of disengagement.
The cost of disengagement. Yes.
Yeah, because then I'm able to prove this with the figures and trends, emerging trends, and also what fear then causes during this change season. And corporates want either research, they want either report. So I like to share also a sample EI report because sometimes they may not buy into general coaching and navigating around that. I only use coaching model for one-on-one leaders, particularly maybe on specific requests. But if you're looking at a team-based solution, then I'm very good at just carrying the sample reports of a 360 evaluation and getting to really take them through to see what this will deliver. And for me, that has been a game changer because we are going through a season of change, uncertainty, and also lack of trust. Yeah, so the minute they see then this, they're able to have a buy-in, and the next minute, the leaders, I tell them, I can even either do a free assessment, and we never even get to do the free assessment. It's just a sign up because they have a number of people, they are very poor or they have never even had an opportunity to do their self-awareness assessment. So they don't know what you're talking about. So the first time when the leader or the sponsor goes through it, it's a go.
It's a go.
It's a go.
Yes.
Yes, and they are waiting for their team members to have it. And the minute they do it, you give the feedback and a coaching session. The rest is history. Yeah. So for me, that has been my approach.
Wonderful. Okay. And I'm going to just nudge the people on the call today. If you can, on the chat, just type one word. We've given you one word. Nedra has given you one word or phrase, which is you're leading through your people. Your vision is your people. Irene has talked about the cost of, yeah. So showing the cost of the lack of the cost of fear, the cost of disengagement, right? We've heard from Priska, uses the EI experience and shows a stark difference, and someone can begin to see that, oh my goodness, my teams, if this is the person leading them, this vision is not going to be found, is not going to happen. Sorry, Judy, Anka, Caroline Kabira, emotional climate, and we all know a net positive emotional climate does more than, of course, it's not even rocket science. We know that most people know these things, but they don't know how. How do I create this positive environment? And they think it's like we go and sing Kumbaya and we go for team buildings, but that is not it. And that's not why it is. I can see some words coming up. Vincent says blind spot. I don't know whether, Vincent, you're in a position to explain to us what blind spot means. Let me see some more words coming up. Vincent, do you want to take that? Blind spot? Or maybe he's not in a position where he can share.
Okay, yeah, I
Please
can.
do.
Thank you so much, Vicky, for doing this, and thank you for everyone in the call. Blind spot for me has been that at every point in time, you meet an organization or maybe the leaders. Most times they believe they are doing all they can, but oftentimes the challenge is that they are not getting the result they expected to get. And so for me, one of the key word is that is it possible there's a blind spot somewhere? Is there something they are missing and they are not seeing? And that's the blind spot for me. And that blind spot can be a culture, that blind spot can just be a kind of a process they are missing somewhere along the line. Or perhaps it can be with the leader himself, or maybe it can be with the organizational culture. And that is what gives birth to now. Let's go for that, look for that blind spot. And then possibly by getting that blind spot, we'll get better clarity, and then at that level everyone will be organized to bring their all into to be fully anchored enough to get the kind of result everyone is expecting.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I can see there's also a comment from Kuresha. That is Vincent, not Vincent, Victor, all the way from Nigeria, West Africa, talking about, bringing to the fact that there could be some things that you're missing that are not enabling you to hit the targets that you want. We also have a message about thank you for the team and the idea of using data and research on EI before any conversation. And thank you so much for sharing. Before we go into our last comments, I would like to share with you a program that we are also doing as part of the work we do here at Profiles. And this is about how to build resilience. We've been getting a lot of people talking about resilience. What do I do? What are some of the habits that I need to embody? And we thought, let's run a webinar. And we're charging 2,000 shillings really, or $16 for the value, but really this is one of the ways that we are hoping to equip people to show up better in their life, as Judy said, in their life. So if you know someone or anyone who needs this quick webinar to help remind them of how they can manage stress, recover faster, I'm asking you, we're hoping to reach at least 100 people. Just send it to them, ask them to register, and especially younger people, because they are the ones that sometimes have not come across these tools and are not aware of what they would need to do to be able to, or what habits they need to start developing right now to be able to grow now to where all of us coaches are a resilient life that pushes through and does, most of the time, not all the time, the right things that anchor us back to purpose. So my ask is, please share the poster. It will be on the group. Let's get as many young people joining in as possible, or even older ones as well. Anyone who you feel this webinar is for, just send to them. We're going to give them a workbook. We're going to give them a short exercise where they can check how the stress levels are doing. And of course, we'll take them through a few tools and tips and practical tools and strategies that they can use. And that's my ask to you this evening as a generous community. So before we wind up, we still have Irene here and we still have Nedra. I'm going to just ask them for some last remarks. And to everyone on the call, we've talked about 4 questions that you should ask yourself. And the first question we've asked is, what business problem does your coaching actually solve? And here we've had many things from leadership to management. There's been many answers. So ask yourself, when you word your language, when you talk about either training and facilitating for EI or coaching, are you speaking it in business language? The second question is, what is the return on investment of your coaching, your facilitation? What is that for the business leaders that you're speaking to today, or department leaders, team leaders, all those people? So that you stop selling coaching sessions and start delivering business outcomes. And the conversations now become linked back to a measurable outcome, whether it's for an individual or whether it's for the organization. So as we wind up, we always want to finish within the 1 hour. Nedra, I would ask you to give us your parting remarks as I wait for, actually she's here. Yeah, for Irene as well. So Nedra, please, over to you for the last remarks.
Déjà, merci beaucoup pour l'invitation. Thank you very
Yes, you're very welcome. You're very
your
welcome.
invitation. What I
Bienvenue.
can say, merci, is that to really, shift to a business income. I think that we have to shift from a mindset of, come, we will teach you about emotional intelligence because we are practitioners and we know about it, to come, we can support you in solving your problems and creating values in your organizations by emotional intelligence.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Nedra. Thank you for that. So we stop putting ourselves there. I am an emotional intelligence practitioner. I can teach you about emotional intelligence. Thank you. Wonderful.
We can support you because by using the emotional intelligence, yes, we can go forward together.
Thank you. Very, very powerful. Thank you, Nedra. And what about you, Irene?
Yeah, thank you very much, Vicky, and everyone. I think, yes, for me, just to remind us that we have a great opportunity before us on EI, and there are plenty of opportunities once we have created a value proposition based on our niche areas, and to also let them know that within the network of EI practitioners, I think we have seen a lot of support from Vicky to the entire community. So let us get talking and support one another. Plenty of opportunities out there. Yeah, thank you very much. That's all that I have to say.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Irene. And thank you very, very much, Nedrin. Merci beaucoup. This was a very, very, informative conversation for all of us. And I think you can put your chats and let us know how did this go for you as well as a practitioner. I completely loved it. I have had 1 or 2, in fact, more than 1 or 2 nuggets for myself, and they have enriched my conversation. So that's it for today. I think, please, let us give virtual flowers to both Nedra and Irene for their time. They have given their time. They have allowed us to be part of this conversation. And we can't thank you enough for coming through for the generous community just to share. And even more importantly, you have brought out thoughts in people's minds that they have actually even shared back to us and told us, even me, this is what I do. So my second thank you is to all the participants on this call, all the practitioners. And for those who even shared, thank you so, so much for sharing what you did. So I'm hoping that you have a wonderful, I wish you a great, great evening. Bonsoir, Nedra. Is it bonsoir?
Oui, bonne soirée. Oui.
Bonne soirée, Nedra. And a good evening to you, Irene, and a good evening to all the practitioners on this call. Thank you very much, merci beaucoup, and we will see you at the next call. Thank you, and ciao. I'll now put some music as we leave. Bye-bye. Au revoir.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, bye. Thank you.